So in this point, I would actually want us to check on what you call the HLOOKUP function. We have already seen about the VLOOKUP, and this is basically the HLOOKUP. So if you haven't actually seen the VLOOKUP, then I would actually recommend you that you go and check all those real world examples that you actually did on the VLOOKUP, so that you can also come to this point here. Because if you start with the VLOOKUP and come to this point here, I believe you will have a very good understanding of what the HLOOKUP and the VLOOKUP actually talk about. So the VLOOKUP is actually for the vertical arrangement, and the HLOOKUP is actually for the horizontal arrangement. So this H in this point here stands for horizontal lookup. For the VLOOKUP, the V is actually for the vertical lookup. Now, before we actually continue, I would urge you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then in doing so, you will actually be updated whenever YouTube video is actually dropped. And on this point too, I will recommend that you actually follow me on my X account, so that you can build one of the biggest platforms together. So in this section here, you will actually realize that our data is actually arranged horizontally. Now you can actually check that I do not have January here, February, March, April, May going vertically. No, I have them arranged horizontally. That's from January to February to March to April and May. So we have the months, then we also do have the sales. So in this point, I would actually want us to use the HLOOKUP function so that we can obtain the sales in May. Now you can actually check that the month May is actually here, and the sales in May is actually equivalent to that 709. So I would actually want us to use the HLOOKUP function so that we can come up with that 7 or 9. So let's actually go. Is equivalent to HLOOKUP, just like that, and you open it, it will ask you for the lookup value. My lookup value is actually May. So May is actually a text, so it must be inside a quotation. So opening quotation, May, closing quotation, then a comma, it will ask you for the table array. Now in this point, our table array is actually inclusive of the months and the sales. So from this point here to the sales, so the months and the sales. And there's actually one thing which you must actually take note of in this point here. When it comes to selecting the table array in the HLOOKUP, make sure that the lookup value, yes, is actually in row number 1 of our table array. So this is basically my lookup value. Yes, and in row number 1, you can actually check that I do have the months, and that's where May comes in. So make sure that the lookup value is actually in row number 1 of the table array, in row number 1 of the table array. Remember, in the VLOOKUP, we were actually saying that you have to make sure that the lookup value that is in the VLOOKUP must actually be in column number 1 of the table array. So we have actually established that May is actually in row number 1 of our table array. Just like that, comma, it will ask you which row are you actually returning. So this is actually row number 1 for the months, and this is row number 2 for the sales. So I'm actually returning row number 2. So 2 like that, another comma, it will ask you, is this approximate match or the exact match? In this point, I'm actually returning exactly for May. So exact match, double click on it like that. It's actually exact match, which is equivalent to false or a 0. So close it like that. Hit enter on the keyboard. Now you can actually check that it's that 7 or 9. So what you actually had there. So double click on it like that and replace this false with a 0, and you'll actually check that we will be having the same result. So false or a 0 is actually equivalent to the exact match. Now that said and done, in this point here, you will actually realize that I'll be accepting the projects from your side. Like, for example, if you have a project that actually entails Cloud in Excel, prompting, dashboards and charts, automation, pivot tables and models, Power BI, financial forecast, templates management, and this is actually done monthly, then you can actually have the monthly subscription, which will actually be going at $550 only. So imagine $550 only, and this work is actually done. And if you also have the one-time task, for example, the dashboards, the analysis and insights, smart macros, Power BI reports, these are actually the prices. It actually ranges from $150 all the way to $300. So in this case too, you can actually check that I will be accepting the templates on your end. So if you have any problem, or if you would like to have a template designed for you, then this is actually the right place for you. So I'll be designing the templates, then I manage it for you every month. that one will be actually $50. So I design and manage it for you every month. That's $50 a month. But if you have, let's say for example, you would actually want to get me a task for designing for you a template on personal finance. That's a one-time task. Inventory templates, the HR templates, the sales performance templates, all these will actually be done cheaply. And these are actually the prices: $19, $12, $17, $22, $19, $15. You can actually check that the prices are favorable. So the prices are favorable, and this is actually for the one-time task. So if you actually want a template, I can actually design for you, and that's all. Now, on this other end, you will also realize that we will be having what you call the courses, and I will actually allow you to access all these courses of mine inside the Google Drive account. Yes, inside my Google Drive, and that one will actually be $100 only. Now imagine accessing all these courses on Microsoft Excel for $100. So we're still working on something small on the site, and the site will actually be back soon. And when the site is actually back, you won't actually lose your access. So imagine with $100, you get access to the Google Drive, and when the website is actually back, you won't actually lose the access. Imagine actually getting that deal for $100 when the deal will actually be going for $945. Wow, that's actually one of the biggest deals here. $100 is getting you something worth $945. So that's it. Now, to actually reach me out for the projects, the courses, and the templates, and everything else, this is actually my email here. So you can actually use this email to send me a message so that you can actually talk business and help you or propel your business in making more money and getting you positive results. Now, on this point here, allow me to also show you how we can, let's say for example, we would want to make this one a bit advanced. So what we'll actually do in this point is say sales, like that. Then on this point here, we'll actually write the month, which is actually May, just like that. So instead of using this quotation or having May as a text, we can actually use the cell reference. So May is actually on H15. Nothing has actually been tampered with. So we have May on H15, and everything else is actually untouched. So just like that, it enter on the keyboard, it's actually that 7 or 9. So the moment you would actually want to obtain the sales for January, you just have to change that May to Jan, just like that, and that's all. For February, Feb, that's all. For 750. For March, MAR, that's all. For April, APR, that's all.